Huge and eternally hungry, the prospects carry trays overburdened with food, with mounds of spaghetti trailing off chipped plates, with cheeseburgers and stacks of peanut butter sandwiches, with bagels, crackers, sweaty boxes of milk, with cookies, brownies, ice cream. The prospects are eager to gain. All morning long, through history and English and shop, their bellies have groaned with want. Their growing bones have ached. The cafeteria ladies with their hairnets and ample bodies just laugh and shake their heads at the sight of so much food. Every day they ask the same thing: how can you boys eat so much? In stuffy classrooms and chatter-filled hallways, the prospects move like sloths. They shuffle, they slouch, they doze or turn sleepy gazes to the blackboard. Only at lunchtime do they come alive. Hunched over their trays, baseball caps backward, the prospects tuck in. They eat steadily without pause. The prospects wear low-slung jeans and fat sneakers and tent-like T-shirts bearing slogans. On Fridays, the prospects wear grass-stained game shirts. Next week is the last week of the football season, and already the college coaches are gathering, writing, phoning, texting, sometimes visiting. The recruiting coaches who do visit bring with them the aura of a big campus where they govern teams cheered and chanted over, and players written about and talked about on TV, interviewed by sideline reporters who are always women and always blonde. And yet these coaches never smile. They peek into the cafeteria and stare at the prospects without expression, while the prospects continue to eat, to grin at the lesser mortals around them, to steal food from a buddy's plate and fling it on a neighboring table. They pretend they are not being watched. The prospects know their own potential. Their foot speed has been carefully clocked. They can run 40 yards in 5 seconds, or 4.5 seconds. Never 6 seconds. 6 seconds is too slow. They bench 250, or they bench 300. They swallow gel caps filled with supplements nicknamed Nitro and Explode. The skin on their biceps, on their chests, on their shoulders is crisscrossed with silvery stretch marks. In foggy suburban bathrooms, they stand shirtless and sweaty and flex all their muscles at once. Flex their biceps until the skin is pulled tight, until the muscles cramp. They flex their chests, looking for striations in the pecs. They look straight into the mirrors and speak to a phalanx of invisible microphones and to a room full of reporters, unseen, and respond to questions unasked about plays and games yet to unfold. The prospects speak in an unbroken chain of cliches as they teleport themselves away from manicured lawns and department store fashions, away from top 40 hits of love and loneliness, away from rules and curfews and boredom and bad grades, and into the imagined world of college football, where the roster of players is 100 deep, with players who travel in packs, eat together, work out together, attend all the same classes, and throw their own parties replete with binge drinking, casual vandalism, and spontaneous sex. This is a world in which the players as a group occupy a status above everyone else on campus, a world that will be partially unveiled to the prospects in one of several on-campus visits, each one a tacit promise of future freedoms and successes. If only they can get in, get the offer, the free ride, the 3/4 free ride, or even the half free ride with optional no-show job attached. The prospects won't consider anything less. But for now, the prospects still live at home in football-fervent cities and towns, among the hollowed-out factories, the vacated office parks, under the care of their parents, the unemployed and overmortgaged, the downgraded part-timers, the patriotic, the doggedly informed, the God-fearing and peace-loving, the green-thinking and internet surfing, but most of all, the hopeful, those who hold lottery tickets and buy wrinkle cream, those who cruise the self-help section of the bookstore in earnest, those who are working on themselves, tweaking their resumes, while watching TV shows in which the nobody rises over several weeks to become a big star. Those who had the mystifying good fortune to birth a child of monstrous size, one who has collected admiring letters from famous coaches in distant cities. And these And in these homes, each prospect is still a boy who seems to ingest his body weight in food and who views a pizza or a roast chicken as an appetizer. A boy who can down a quart of milk while standing at the open refrigerator door. A child who cannot be trusted with the car or the television remote because he has no impulse control, no sense that others exist. Yet this child seems tailor-made for the XXL world he will inhabit, a world of super portions, mega churches, and 56-inch plasma screens, of catastrophic storms, runaway fires, tandem tornadoes, of taxpayer-funded stadiums and billion-dollar television rights deals, swollen CEO salaries, and severance packages, a world in which the ones with an early push are the only ones who survive. The prospects believe in their own celebrity, like starlets, like politicians embroiled in scandal, like criminals emerging from court. The prospects have learned to ignore the syllables of their own names. The prospects do not turn when hailed. They have cell phones they do not answer. They receive texts they do not read. They ignore everyone except the coaches who send letters promising a visit, coaches who call frequently, almost nightly. The prospects never stir to answer the phone. The mother does that, always the mother. The prospects lounge on lumpy rec room couches in finished basements while thumbing consoles or working joysticks and staring at the flickering images they control. The prospects stomp zombies. They steer cars through tracks. They draw swords against Spartans. They invade, they pillage, they steal, they kill, they die. They wait for the gentle knock on the bedroom door, the shout down the basement stairs, followed by the plaintive announcement that Coach so-and-so is calling. The prospects make a big show of not wanting to talk. They sigh loudly and curse softly as they shuffle to the phone. There they answer questions about their grades, their classes, their games. They are polite and reserved as they wait for the offer of a full ride, a partial ride, a scholarship large or small, but never ask for it. They listen to the hints, the chattiness, the faux friendliness, hoping to hear a whisper of actual need. The best recruiters, those working at assistants and top programs with the biggest budgets, of course, show nothing. Like the prospects, they can afford to expend tiny amounts of energy to draw attention from all potential candidates. And here are the recruiters from the lesser schools, the also-rans, the schools in transition with losing records, the small schools in Division II or III, the schools with spare budgets and few scholarships. Recruiters from these schools are perpetually on the road, perpetually in sales meetings with disinterested buyers. Every day, these men steer a rental car into several high school parking lots and sign in at the office where they don visitors' badges and wait for the prospects in empty rooms. These men wear golf shirts with a discreet college logo. They have trim waists and crisp haircuts and good posture. They have firm handshakes and carry large binders. They introduce themselves using the word coach and present business cards. Their resumes are stacked with credentials, with assistantships in high school and college programs, with associate's degrees or undergraduate degrees in criminal justice or business administration. Some include the stats of their playing days at a big program, of yards rushing or defensive tackles, of completed passes or receptions, of touchdowns and wins, and yes, the losses too, for the losses are never forgotten. Nor are the missed tackles, the dropped passes, the broken plays, the lost leads, the miscues, mistakes, poor judgments. The imprudent risks of a lifetime never go away. They just add up. These men are former college athletes who still bear the telltale height, the broad shoulders, the barrel chests, and the deep voices of top players. Men who spend hours each day in a gym hefting weights while counting reps, or laboring mightily on a track, on a treadmill wearing earbuds, in a lap lane, on a squash court. Men who play pickup games of basketball, softball, tennis, who study the sports pages every morning, committing box scores to memory, and snorting at the words of each columnist, who follow multiple teams in many sports, who shout at their television sets during games, and who gamble a little while pretending not to. and for whom the appetite for food and competition and exertion and adrenaline has not diminished and may never fade. These recruiters are in their 20s or in their 30s or rarely in their 40s. They are salesmen who spend the winter months driving through an assigned territory, meeting, glad-handing, smiling, visiting homes, selling the program, the college, the athletic experience to multiple players at every position. And for this, they may earn a salary similar to an assistant professor, or they may earn a few $1,000s per year, along with a dining card that allows for free meals in the college cafeteria. Or in some cases, they are glorified interns, meaning that they are part-time stringers, hoping to catch on somewhere. These job titles contain an asterisk, provisional status, far afield from the contractual agreement, sometimes totaling millions of dollars, that binds top head coaches to their programs. A recruiter in a small program is a man who stocks shelves and collects tip money for each delivered pizza, and sells athletic shoes in a sporting goods store while sleeping on a friend's couch, or while sharing a studio apartment with 6 other men and 3 dogs, and whose resume is in the hands of every football coach, great and small, with whom he has had even the merest acquaintance. He is a man who once dreamed of greatness as a coach, but whose dreams have shrunk to one goal, that of a paid position at any program. On rainy days, these recruiters limp with little reminders of injuries, those tendons that popped in stride, or the ankle that was ground into the turf under a pile of bodies, or the collision in mid-air that cracked a vertebrae, a scapula, a femur, a collarbone snapped under the weight of a set of pads propelled by 315 pounds of linemen. Each man can narrate the whole scenario of his injury, can tell it with a smile that hides some other, more complicated feeling, that hides a vivid remembrance of lying out on the grass, on the turf, gulping for air and trying not to puke from the throbbing, the stinging, the skin tightening around the swelling, the others crowding around as the pain comes in waves, sharp and then dull, and then in a long, shrill shout when the trainer palpates the hot skin, squeezing the accumulating blood and marrow, crunching the dislocated bits of tendon or cartilage between thumb and forefinger, and then waiting for the trainer to glance up with a sad and knowing expression before giving the quick head shake that alerts everyone that this bone, this joint, this ligament, this tendon, this body, this tool so carefully tended will never again be what it was just a few minutes ago. Recruiters never talk about their own concussions, except in jest, about blacking out mid-tackle and waking up on the sidelines, about walking as though drunk while the horizon swims. These men never mention and claim they never think about the 1,000 little hits that cause a slow erosion of brain cells, the fog that may be already dissolving their grace, their coordination, their speech, their memories, their identities. And every few months, when another former player takes his own life, as the newspapers put it, that is to say, when another former player shoots himself in the chest, or jumps from a bridge, or hangs himself in the shower, leaving nothing but a note in clean type or shaky handwriting saying that it has all become too much, they know that what he means by too much is that the headaches and waves of nausea, the forgetfulness, the sudden rages, the inertia that fills his body with lead for days at a time has triggered a realization that these symptoms might not represent the usual vestiges of a storied career in sports. And afterward, after the body has been found and identified, and after the skull has been prized apart, has been sawed apart and the spongy brain prized out, dropped into a cooler and sent to a lab in Boston, that's when the players who have become recruiters look in the mirror and look at each other and look to the newspapers for some report, some quote or fact, some reason to believe that it has all been a mistake, some reason to believe that they will be spared. I'll stop there.